Hi Flosstube, it's Karen, recovering monogamous stitcher. I am back with video number 69 and today is Friday, May 9, 2025. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'm happy to have you here. I have a ton of things to show. I've been doing a lot of sewing, which I'll show at the end. Well, welcome to my channel, especially the new subscribers. In the last month, I got 29 new subscribers. Thank you so much. You're so welcome to be here, as are my longtime followers. I really appreciate your loyalty, and I love having comments from you, and I love the community we're creating here on Flosstube. So thanks so much for stopping by. One thing I wanted to mention before I get into my stitching, etc., is that Central Kentucky Stitchers is having a Saturday stitch-in tomorrow, May 10, but we're having it in Frankfort. Two reasons. For one thing, we know a lot of people are not available to get together on weekdays as we do normally, and we wanted to do a Saturday so that people who are not available on weekdays might be able to come on a Saturday. In addition to being in Frankfurt, we've changed the location a little bit. It might make it just close enough to somebody that they think they can come. So if you're interested, you have to join Central Kentucky Stitchers on Facebook, and all the details are there, the specific place and the times. And this is not a retreat. There's no cost to you. It's just a Saturday stitch-in, just a fun stitch-in day. So anybody would be welcome to come. So check that out if you're interested. Okay, I'm going to start with cross stitch, and then we'll move on to other sewing that I've been doing, and then we'll talk about the quilt that's behind me on the wall. Let's see, I've done a lot of stitching, but I have no FFOs, and I have no FOs. And for people who are new to Flosstube, we do talk in acronyms, sorry. An FFO is a fully finished object. That means it is to its final completion. It's either been framed, or it's been made into a pillow, or it's been made into a flat fold or a drum or something, but it is done and it's ready for display and use. That's FFO. An FO is a finished object, which means the stitching is done, but not the final finishing. So that's an FO. I have no FFOs this time and no FOs this time. So I will talk to you about my WIPs, WIPs, works in progress. And I got to touch quite a few of them, so I'm excited to get going here. The first one I did, Book of Days. So I finished out the month of April. I stitched every day. I met all of my goals for the month of April. Okay, I've started May. These are my goals. I have finished the 7 days on my focus piece. And those of you who've been with me a while know that I always have a focus piece, which is my oldest WIP. That's my choice. That's what I choose to do. And my idea of focus is that I stitch on that piece 7 days in a month. They can be consecutive days or mixed around, doesn't matter, but I will give that piece 7 days every month, and it will remain my focus piece until it's done. That system has been very successful for me. And some people do it a little differently, like Sarah at Sarah's Stitchy Spot uses it for something specific she wants to get done, and she makes it her focus and she works on that. So, you know, it's an idea. If it sounds interesting to you, you might want to try it. Okay, so the first work in progress that I'll show you is Florence Mary Dickenson. This is from Hands Across the Sea. I started her as a stitch along, also called a SAL, S-A-L, or a start along, depending on how you like to stitch. And I spent some days after the last Flosstube. The border is completely finished, completely. I've done one little bird up here. That's how I know what's top. That's not why I did it. I just wanted to do a motif. I was sort of tired of the border, but I did all the way around, and there are like 3 colors in the flowers and 2 or 3 colors in the leaves. It's a fussy border, but it is beautiful, very effective. So the border is done. So the next time I work on her, I'm ready to jump into the center and get going on the fun stuff. And she lives in a bag. I made for myself, and I did a zipper pull using Lori Holt's daughter, Cassidy's tutorial. I guess she had it in one of Lori's videos. The next thing I stitched on was Mary Amelia's bird from Quaint Rose Needle Arts. And I am stitching this on perforated paper. And this is 18 count perforated paper that I oil stained myself to make it look old because it was white and I didn't want to stitch on white, but I've gotten a lot done. The bird is almost done. The tail isn't done. I'm working over here in this foliage. Then there's some more over here yet to get to. But Mary Amelia's bird, and it's beautiful. There is a category in the state fair for perforated paper, so I'm hoping I can get this done. And then I have to figure out how to finish it because to me it calls for round, and it's hard to find a round frame. I think Contented Needleworker Kim has used a clock, you know, taken out the clock and used the surround of the clock for hers. Anyway, and that poor little thing is just living in a plastic Amazon bag. See, I need more project bags. The next one I stitched on, oh, I haven't told you what I stitched on. Anyway, so this is Margaret Hutton. Again, Hands Across the Sea. I started this at a retreat in Cincinnati last year with Queen City Sampler Guild. And this is full of specialty stitches, and that's why I attended the retreat, and Nicola was such a good teacher and provided great diagrams. Let me tell you the list of the specialty stitches in this sweet little thing. In addition to a regular cross stitch, it has alternating double back stitch, rice stitch, four-sided stitch, Algerian eyelets, double running stitch, queen stitch, and I also replaced the tiny, tiny rice stitch with Smyrna crosses. So there are lots of specialties in this one, and it was great fun. I have to tell you, it was great fun. I love the specialty stitches. They look so pretty. They're so worth the effort. Now, I finished the laurel, but I have this pot, and then there's a bird on each side, and there are about 100, okay, I'll exaggerate. There are about 100 initials, one over one. I did some of the one over here, one here, her name, there's some of the initials, and a crown. These are queen stitches, queen stitches, queen stitches here, queen stitches there and there. They're stacked. They're so beautiful. As I say, I love the effect. It did take a little fussing with that queen stitch. So the first stacked ones I did over here on this side, this is my third attempt. I just couldn't quite get it. For one thing, I looked at the diagram and was sure I saw that it was over 3 threads. Well, no, it's not. It's over 2. Anyway, so that was one big mistake, but so I got past that. All fixed. Anyway, so she is my, wait a minute. Yes, I moved her to focus piece. Remember, Ann Gott was my focus piece, but I moved her to focus piece temporarily because she was the next one down on the list, and I want to try to get this done so that I can take it to Hobby House and show Nicola when I'm there in August. And she's stitched on 40 count Muddy Duck, which is from Tabby Cat linen, and I'm using all the Soie 100.3s that are in the pattern. And she lives in this beautiful Penny and Tunny bag that we were gifted at the retreat. Look at all the bling on this. It's so much fun. Anyway, she's a fancy, fancy girl. Let's see, and I had a new start because last month, you'll remember, I finished my previous red sampler. I always have a red sampler on the go, and I give it 3 days a month. I think that's about right. It's completely arbitrary, but I think about 10% of my time is good for a red sampler. So the new one I started, again, Hands Across the Sea. This is Dorothy Bryant. It's called Noblesse Oblige. I started it yesterday, so it's had 1 day of stitching. Got it established. in the corner. I'm starting down so I can get my spacing, then I work my way over. I'm stitching this on 40 count Dirty Teacup from Linen and Flax, and it calls for one color, of course, and it's Soie 100.3, number 523. It's a beautiful red. Not as bright as some, but it looks beautiful on that fabric, I think. So this is Dorothy Bryant. She's my red sampler. And I moved my red sampler out of the other bag and put them into this project folder that I had made. It does not have DMC pockets in it. I made the kind with the two, you have a zip pocket, and there's a pocket behind, and a slip pocket behind, and another. But they only have one color fabric or floss, so they fit well. I have some others here waiting to go. Susanna de Carl. And who's this? Dinah Elizabeth Disney. And these are all Hands Across the Sea. They're beautiful, beautiful. And as I recall, they all call for Dirty Teacup, if possible. And I had a stitcher's quarter of it that I had gotten at the attic, but I can only get 2 out of that piece. So you can see I had cut it down and zigzagged it around, and I have another piece left. I can do one more on that, and then I'll decide if I'm going to try to get more Dirty Teacup, or if I'll do a switch over and do it on something like this. Either way, I think it would be fine. Would be kind of nice to have them all on Dirty Teacup. A little trio. Let me stick these back in here. Okay. Okay. Alrighty, there's that one. And then last night, Queen City Sampler Guild had a Zoom call for those of us who are participating in the Stitch Along of Martha Miller, 1858. This is designed by Sylvia Steckler, running with needles and scissors. And I've just now started my May portion. We're going to get this done in September if we keep up with 9 segments. So I had January, February, March, April, and then this is my start of May. That's all I've done on May, just started that bird. But there's a lot of time left in May, and I'll work on it some more. There was a question after last video about the verse, or the verse, it's not. Okay, it says is instead of his. Where is it? Okay, and read is holy word. And the question was that a mistake, or is that intentional? And I did check specifically with Sylvia, and she said, yes, that's the way Martha Miller stitched it, and so that's the way she charted it. Sometimes she fixes mistakes, but she didn't fix that one. And actually, you know, if that was to be correct, it would be a capital H. And look at how close this goes to the next. So you couldn't just stick a capital H in there anyway. So, and I'm happy to do a reproduction as it was done originally. So that's what I tried to do. So there we are. So I hope that answered your question. And this lives in a bag I made out of Blackbird fabrics. And the DMC holder doesn't go with it, but anyway. Okay, so those are the works in progress that I've worked on in the last 2 weeks. I am going to come back in a minute and show you my plans for Mania. Okay, I'm back. In the last video I talked about, well, I kind of mulled over what I would do for Mania, what I do new starts, what I do market Mania. Anyway, I've come up with kind of a combination. Earlier, I had also said that there were several I wanted to start. If it wasn't a new sampler that I was starting, these were the next ones, excuse me, that I would start, not new samplers. One of them was Amelia's Bird, and I have started that. Another was Casting a Spell from Blackbird Designs. I've had this since I came back to stitching, one of the first things I got. And I hesitated to start it because I didn't have the box. Well, now I have the box. Not only do I have the box, I've painted the box. The box is ready to go. I showed this to you before. I made a crackle finish with orange underneath. Oh, there you can see my whole setup. And I found at Dollar Tree this dandy little wire holder, so it'll be nicely displayed. It'll hold it high enough, I mean, at an angle so that if I have things in there, they won't fall out. So that's for casting a spell. Let me put that down. And I have, my fabric is gray, Weeks Dye Works gray. I have a couple eighths of that. That should be plenty. And I have my DMC flosses back here, so I'm ready to go. So this will be a new start. That's my plan, and it's in a spooky bag that I made myself. Okay, there's that one. The other that I said I wanted to start, if I didn't start a sampler, is When Flowers Bloom. It's from Brenda Gervais with Needle and Thread, with Vine Needle and Thread. I loved this and bought this pattern, but didn't start it because I did not have the tray. And I've tried and tried and tried to get the tray, and it's just never in stock. Her online store is Country Stitches Online, I think. And it was just always out of stock. So I found a similar, more plain, it's not nicely scalloped like this, but I found one at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, I don't know. And I painted it, distressed it, had it with wax, and I have my mat board cut to put the piece in. So again, this finishing piece is ready to go. That's why I want to get going on these. So I have chosen for this, now it calls for straw. What does it say I've stitched on? Sheep's straw linen. So it's kind of a light color. But I'm looking at this. Oops. Okay, I think it looks pretty similar. It's called Brown Sugar from Fiber on a Whim. Let me know what you think. If you have done this stitch and you think it really needs to be on the lighter fabric, I will do it. But any of these colors will show up, even the lightest, they'll show up on that fabric. So if you have an opinion about, is that too dark? If it is, I can switch it out. I do have other things, other fabrics. And it lives in a bag I made myself with the bee theme. And honeycomb in there, and I did a cute little zipper pull. I had a little charm that was cutesy. Okay, so that's When Flowers Bloom. Another I want to start, it'll be a new start, is Specialty Stitches, a la 1838 by LH, yes, I'm sorry. This is from Jeanette Douglas, and this is one of the projects we received at Sampler Symposium at the Attic in January, and I'm really anxious to get going on it. I want to do the specialty stitches. We have the whole thing. We have the book with detailed instructions on how to do each of the specialty stitches. Oh, and in this beautiful project bag from Felicia. Thank you, Felicia. Okay, buy with a little help from my friends. We were gifted the fabric, cut NPI silks, and if it required a whole skein, we have the whole skein. So I have everything I need, and I'm anxious to get going on this. So this is that would be another new start. That would be 3 new starts, which is very different for me, as you know. But I've gotten a little frustrated at the things that are waiting and waiting and waiting, and I never seem to get to them. So I don't want to bend this. Okay. There. Okay, that would be a new start. And then another thing I want to stitch on in May is I want to get back to Jessie Challenor. Jessie Challenor was released close to the time of Sampler Symposium because I pre-ordered it and picked it up when I went to Sampler Symposium. And of course, it's Hands Across the Sea. And it's offered in 2 colorways, the bright, which is what Jessie would have seen when she stitched it. And then the other is the faded, which is how it looks now after time. And I have chosen to do the brights. I love, love, love the colors. And I haven't touched it since January. Just, you know, got to start, and that's it. Just a start. So I want to get back to her. And I have so many that are kitted up waiting, but at least if I've started it, I need to give it some time. So I've decided the problem is there are not enough days in the month. I go through the things I have for my goals, and then that takes the whole month, and I never get to catching up with other things. And I made this project bag for it. The fabric panel is from Hands Across the Sea. That was available at the attic. This is the larger of the 2 sizes, and I found appropriate colors in my stash to make it. And got the bling. I did this. Yeah, that's right. I did this and added it to the bling that we got to go with the bag. Pretty pretty. And I have the needle minder there too. Okay, so those are my plans for May. And when I see how long it takes me, well, I have 2 more days on the red sampler, and then I need to finish the stitch along May assignment for Martha Miller. Then the rest of the days that are left in the month of May, I plan to apportion among these 4 items, 3 new starts and 1 return to one that I've already started. So hope that works out. Let me know how Mania is working for you. What have you decided to do? Are you doing crazy start like a lot of people do? That would give me heart palpitations if I did that. Okay, I'm going to be back in a minute with some haul. Okay, I'm back with haul. The first thing you're going to assume, I assume that you know, because I'm in 2 thread clubs from Fat Quarter Shop. This is the week's Dye Works Floss Frenzy. And no, I have not yet reorganized my over-dyed floss. I have my boxes, but I haven't done it yet. There's just not enough time. But anyway, these will go on the little plastic hangers that I use and be put in with the rest. Okay, another thing I got, remember when I was talking about Ann Gott, I ran out of Secret Garden, the green. So I ordered 2 Secret Garden from Fat Quarter Shop. Well, I'm not going to pay postage just for 2 skeins of thread. So there were 2 Market wish list things that I had not ordered. I was trying to be really good, and I ordered them because they're so sweet. From Shakespeare's Peddler, they're the sampler fragments. I have the spring sampler fragment and summer, right? Summer, yes. Summer sampler fragment. And they are really, they're meant to look like they came from a segment of an antique sampler. They really didn't. She just did them to look like that. That's my understanding. And if I'm wrong, correct me. But that's what I think I heard her say. So waiting to be started. But they're okay. They can wait a little bit. I'm excited about this one. This is from Antique Needleworkers, our sweet Shelley Fry. Look at these. These are little needle cards that you stitch on perforated paper. What sweet little gifts. Aren't they cute? 5, there are 10 different designs in here. And they're just sweet as can be. So I'm anxious to get going on some of those. Another thing is I had at market time, I really love this needle book, Velvet Pink Pear, Stacy Nash, Velvet Pink Pear. But I wasn't going to order it if I couldn't get the velvet, because I can't source it myself. If I can't get it, I'm not even going to get the pattern. Well, I put my, I put a notify me note on Lindy's Stitches, and ta-da, it came in. So when it came in, I also got the pattern. So here is a sweet little needle book. I've seen this finished on Instagram and and floss tubes, and it's just so cute. So again, another sweet little something something to stitch. And I got my Sew Sampler box from Fat Quarter Shop. This is the April, I think. Yeah, this is April. Now I've looked through it, but I haven't disassembled it. So you get this roll of fabric and a pattern to use it with. Now, you have to add some more fabrics, which is available from Fat Quarter Shop as a finishing kit, or it just tells you how many yards of background you need and what you need for binding and so forth, and you can go out and choose your own. But it's meant to go with this pretty collection of fabrics from Sherry and Chelsea. So I think that'll be like a little lap, 52.5 by 52.5, so a little lap quilt. It also came with this zipper pull or, scissor fob, whichever, to go with that project. We got a spool of Superior Pima, 50 count. I think it's 50 weight. Yeah, 50 weight. And I've never tried this, so that'll be interesting. A package of sewing machine needles, always needed. These are 80-12 Microtex. So they're a little heavier than, I always use 70-10 if I'm doing fusible applique and I'm doing the little zigzag at the side. So this is a little bigger, maybe for piecing. This is really interesting. These are tags made to put on your fabric, and you mark what it is. Is it a collection, or what is the designer? What's the project? What's the size? Is it starched? Yes or no? Was it pre-washed? Yes or no? Look at that. I don't know how many are in here. Doesn't say. It's quite thick. There must be a bunch. So that's interesting. I never thought to label. When I started quilting in the days when dinosaurs roamed the earth, the rule was you pre-washed all fabric before you cut it and put it in a quilt. You always pre-washed. Then came the years of pre-cuts. Well, when you have pre-cuts, whether it's a jelly roll or a charm or a layer cake, you don't pre-wash those because they've been cut. So I have, some of my older stash has been washed, and then I have pre-cuts that's not washed, and I've mixed them in projects, and it's worked out okay. But anyway, it's interesting the way that has all changed. And then they're starting a new monthly pattern. You remember I got the last two in the previous years because I had just joined. So I have two of those basket patterns, and this is the first in next year's quilt. So have that as an opportunity, and that's what's in my box. Such fun. So and there's also, you get a discount on something specific if you're in the club. I haven't taken advantage of that yet. I have an awful lot of stuff, as you know. Get this stuff back in the box. Okay, and that's my haul. I have also ordered the Queen of the May, but she has not come yet. So I should be able to show you that next time. I'm sure you've seen it all over Instagram and Flosstubes and so forth. So, okay, I'm going to pause a minute and come back with other sewing that I've been doing. Okay, I have spent my sewing time pretty much working on my domestic machine. I've not loaded that the quilt with the leaves on it yet. For one thing, I don't feel a deadline looming for it, so I'm not in any hurry. And there were some other things I wanted to do. So I have spent the time, the 2 weeks of my sewing time, my machine sewing time, doing experimenting with zippers, different applications of zippers, and making some project bags. And I have some more that I've cut out, not sewn yet, but they're laid out, ready to go. I need more project bags. So, okay, so zippers. This came to me when I did this Lori Holt panel, I had previously done the panel bag with the ladies and stuff, but this was specifically for crochet, and I don't crochet, so I had put it aside. Well, I came across it, and I know somebody who crochets, so I did this. But you know, this zipper is on the very top. That's a different kind of application than like a project bag where it lays flat, you just sew over it, put binding on it, flat, fine, perfect, easy peasy. But this, you're sewing it into the seam and turning it. And I was a little disappointed at, for one thing, I thought, is that strong enough to stay if you zip, zip, zip? Don't know. And I don't know, I didn't particularly like the way it worked. And so I started looking for YouTube videos, which you can find YouTube videos on anything, on putting in zippers that are at the top of a zipper bag, and ways to maybe do tabs to have a nicer finish. So the first one I did, and I just grabbed different fabrics out of my stash that anyway, I have no plans for it, so okay, I'll just make a little bag. So the first one I did has tabs on the end. Fits pretty nicely. But to me, it was very hard. Sewing this seam, the measurements that were given, you're sewing this seam and even your zipper foot can't get close. You know, it's like you're going over this huge lump, and it was very hard. So it was okay, but not what I would like to proceed with again in the future. So I found another one, very similar with the tabs, but again, it's just so hard because you have that big lump you're trying to sew next to. And then this particular person had suggested tabs, you know, so that you can hang on to one when you pull this way and hang on to the other when you pull the other way, and made it out of extra zipper. And I've done that before. I had a craftsy class. I don't remember the teacher, but she was teaching about zippered bags and how to change out the pull tab to a different color. So you could, for fun, you could have a zipper of one color and the pull tab of another color that went with your project. And so anyway, that was what her project was. And she used tabs like this for pull. Okay, that was okay. It didn't give me anything new on fitting the zipper though. So kept moving on. Let's see, which one did I do next? Okay, and the other thing I was experimenting with was the filling. I wanted a bag that stood up, so it needed to have boxed corners. And I got out my Soft and Stable from Annie, and I had little pieces left. So I did this one, and it was so it would stand up. But I can't tell you how hard it was when this is not done yet, and you're reaching through, you're opening in the lining to get into that corner to do boxed corners inside that little opening. It was too hard. It's just, I mean, on a big bag, this is wonderful, but on this little bag, it was too small for me. So I've decided Soft and Stable on this size, I don't want to do that. So I went to quilt batting, which is okay. I did the boxed corners, that worked fine. It was very, easy to turn. And when I did the tabs, I put a D-ring on this side, thinking you could be clipped to another bag, or you could clip up keys or something to it. But my opinion is that the batting, even though it stands up, but to me it's too light and too squishy. So here's the long sock. I'm telling you, every day I was working on this. And inside each one, I made a note of, okay, what size fabric did I cut? What was the lining, so I can remember. This one, again, I wasn't too happy with the ends. They were okay. I did regular pull tabs, but this I did fusible fleece, which is, I think, a nice compromise between the Soft and Stable and the batting. So this is I would use fusible fleece in this kind of bag again, but I found a better video. This gal, I'll tell you, she knows what she's doing. See that nice finish on that? And she measures it so that you're leaving half an inch, or your zipper is finished half an inch shorter on each side. So you can sew that up and you're not hitting it and it makes a beautiful finish. Let me see if I can turn it. Anyway, you're not, your side seam where you're closing your lining inside, you're not even sewing over that tab. The tab lays nice and flat on the top. Love that. And then I put a D-ring on this end, D-ring. So this is my prototype. This is the way I'm going to make these bags. I like the fleece lining. I like this method for the tabs. I like having the pull tabs on each side and sticking a D-ring on. So that's what I've been, I mean, that takes a lot of fussing around. So that ate up a lot of time. Plus I've made some project bags, and I have 3 more cut out and ready to go. And like I say, I'm just not feeling any pressure to put that next quilt on the machine. And I haven't decided on a custom quilting design yet. So even if I do put it on the machine, I might just do an edge to edge. I don't know, we'll see. So if you've lasted through all of that, congratulations. I'm going to pause, and then we'll take a look at the quilt that's on the wall behind me. Okay, the quilt today is a trip around the world quilt. It's a very traditional pattern. I can't reference you to a specific designer or methodology. This quilt was made by my grandmother and gifted to my mother, and my mother gifted it to me. And my grandmother hand-pieced this. And when you look at the quilt, the fabrics in the center are older than the fabrics around the outer edge. That's easy to see. In fact, I think I can remember some of these that are out there. These in the center are really old. And thin, very thin. I don't know if she actually took them out of clothing rather than, you know, leftovers from making clothing. I don't know. But this has been well worn, well loved, well used. And this is quilted with polyester fibers. It's not cotton or wool, because I can tell because it beards and gets pills on the top, and those polyester fibers can't transfer up through the fabric. So I know it's a polyester fill. She hand-pieced it. I can tell when I look. I had assumed it was machine-pieced, but looking at it, I can see the little stitches where she joined at the corners. This is definitely hand-pieced. I can't even imagine doing that. I don't like hand-piecing. Let's see, and she sent this out. She sent all of her quilts out to be machine quilted, except I have one hand quilted one that I'll show you another time, but and I don't know how they did it back then. This was before computers. Perhaps they had a, pantograph kind of setup, kind of like what I have on the back of my machine. I have a laser light to trace, but maybe they traced in some other way. But she would box up her quilt tops and send them out and have them quilted, and then she finished the binding. Now, I think I told you one other time, my grandmother would never have put a beautiful fabric on the back of a quilt. Her favorite thing was when she could find sheets on sale, and she bought sheets because then it wasn't pieced. And so this sheet is big. It's a sheet, anyway, I don't think it's all cotton. It feels like there's polyester in it of some kind. And then she wrapped it around the edge, and she did this on her sewing machine. I can tell, bless her heart. I would never have attempted this because it's thick, for one thing. And, sewing machines, I don't think she ever had a walking foot. So I don't know how she managed that and wrangled this, around the machine. But she finished it. And I think, I'm trying to remember if this was completed, before I was married, or was it after I was married? And I really can't with this one. I just don't, I know it was on my mother's bed. And I don't remember how long, so I can't date it. But these, I believe, are newer, much newer fabrics. And this I recognize, something my mother, I don't know if it was a house dress. You remember women used to wear house dresses? or curtains, but I recognize that. That was in my house at some point. So this was my grandmother to my mother, now to me. What else was I going to? Oh, this is not labeled, and I am going to label this before I put it back in the closet. I just have to get these things labeled because one more generation and nobody will know the who, what, the where, why, for, anything. So traditional trip around the world. I've never made one of those myself. I know that there are books that have methods where you do strip piecing and cut and all that, and I'm sure she did not do strip piecing on this. It is entirely hand pieced. So, okay, so that's the quilt this time. One other thing I wanted to mention, and I hope I don't touch a button here. On Tuesday, May 13th, oh no, my computer wants to be sassy. And on Tuesday, May 13th, I'm going to put up a Flosstube Extra, and it'll be a short little video where I show you the project I worked on for Fat Quarter Shop. They're releasing the pattern on that day, and so those of us who sewed are putting it on social media. So I'll have it on Flosstube, just an introduction, walk you through, show you the quilt, and on Instagram. So I'll be looking for that, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.